My name is Tamia Staples, and this is, say your name.
My name is Sunny.
And it's really crazy actually coming up with this song, because when they told me that we were supposed to be talking about someone that wasn't there for you, it was really like, what the heck? No. So, for me to share this with you guys is really important for me, and I'm sure it's important for Sunny and for Moses, and I really want to thank you guys so much, and I really want to thank my mother, Wendy. Please stand up, Mommy. She is my queen. I tell you, she is my queen. And I want to give a shout out to all the mothers out there. I salute all of you, and I appreciate all of you. And make sure you raise them good. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Giovanni Duracell, and I became a member of a place called home 14 years ago. When I was a kid, I could not envision a life past my teens. There was too many fights to count, suspensions, and the constant threat of expulsion. I was offered drugs before I even knew how to add or subtract. My father left when I was 5. My mother, raising 3 kids on her own, worked 2 jobs and a graveyard shift just to pay the bills. What had I done wrong to deserve this life? I ate to escape my depression. When I tipped the scale at almost 300 pounds, the doctors told my mother that my life was in danger. I began to wonder, would I ever experience love with another person? Who'd ever want to love a face like mine? Someone with no friends. One day, a friend told my mother about a place called home. For my mother, it was a blessing. From the moment we entered those doors, I felt the love that I needed. I was being seen instead of being watched. I began to envision a future past my teens. I found out about a surfing field trip at a place called home, and somehow I found myself on the bus. As we approached Will Rogers Beach, volunteers were chanting welcome songs and hugs came from all directions. I glanced down at the blue boards on the sand and thought to myself, am I really gonna do this? I looked in a pile of wetsuits but couldn't see one that could fit me. But one of the big guys, one of the volunteers came over and said, this happens all the time. Joe, the volunteer, towed me out on his surfboard and then suddenly yelled, outside, outside, a really good wave is coming. And then he said, it's your first wave, are you ready? I began to paddle like a madman. I looked back and saw a wall of blue. Then I felt a push and I was gliding across the surface of the water. Joe yelled, stand up, Gio. I placed one palm on the board and then another, and then I was up. It took about 2 to 3 seconds for me to stand up and fall face first back in the water again. But catching that first wave was the single most incredible moment of my life. From that summer on, I realized that the world is much larger than the 8 blocks of guns, gangs, and drugs that seem all too familiar. I changed my lifestyle and my diet. I lost 120 pounds in 2 years. And got recruited to the Palisades Charter High School surf team. I began to focus on my academics as well. Soon I found myself surfing for the Malibu National Surf Team as well as the Black Surfers Association. And a place called home in the Shaheens got me into college. Then I discovered that I wanted to change the world. Last May, I graduated from Loyola Marymount University with a bachelor's in political science. I am a graduate student at Pepperdine University for my MBA and Master's in Public Policy. My plan is to be of service in the corporate world as well as nonprofit and long-term run for public office. I want to give back to the world just the way a place called home gave to me. At APCH, I got the answer to the question of, would anyone ever want to love a face like mine? A place called home helped me realize that first, I have to start loving myself. Thank you so much for supporting this extraordinary place of hope and opportunity. Good night, everyone.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Escobar. When I came to a place called home, I was like a candle flickering its last light. My father used drugs and was affiliated with gangs. He would often beat my mother. We were poor. Some nights, I was put inside garbage bins to dig up fabric so my mother could make our clothes. I was sexually molested by a neighbor. I remember hiding under the table, terrified. My most vivid memory is of us escaping from my father. We crawled out the back door and ran as fast as we could. And I thought, I'm never going to see my daddy again. I was only 5. My mother then met my stepdad, who had a drinking problem. I saw a lot of blood and tears. She would lock herself in the restroom and tell us she was going to take her life. My first boyfriend introduced me to drugs, and I dropped out of school. He was physically abusive, but I couldn't leave him. He was the only one that showed me love. One night, he almost stabbed me, but he stopped and said I wasn't worth it. I ran away, and I slept on rooftops and in parks. I hung out with people who gave me drugs. I had a knife at my throat and a gun to my head, but I didn't care for life. I just wanted to die. I tried taking my life 3 times. When my brother was arrested, social services referred me to a place called home. It was divine destiny. There's something so beautiful about the spirit of a place called home. I felt so much peace in my mind and in my heart just sitting in the family room. I felt safe from the world that was killing me. I started to express myself through playing guitar and writing songs. I learned to set up for the band. I couldn't kill myself anymore. I had a job, and they were counting on me. I received counseling and mentoring. I learned that I had a purpose. I learned that I mattered. APCH helped me break free from ugly family cycles. I built relationships and found a family. I learned skills and values. When I left a place called home, I left with a new beat in my heart. I became a legal secretary. APCH. APCH embedded a seed in me, a desire to help children in my community. And over the years, a longing grew. You know, when you're away from home for too long, you start feeling homesick. For years, I had a recurring dream. I saw myself lost at school, and I kept going to the office asking, where am I supposed to be? 2 years ago, I started checking the APCH website for job opportunities. 2 weeks ago, I completed my first year as an associate in the Membership and Parent Services Department at a place called home. I know every single child and family at a place called home, hundreds of them. And every day the kids come and ask me, Miss, where's my class? Where am I supposed to be? And I guide them on their way. I'm not homesick anymore. I know exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm home. Thank you so much for supporting this place that saved my life, where every day I get to help families and young people who are facing the same adversities as I did. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rita Page. My grandchildren and I depend on a place called home. I grew up in Belize. I quit school in 6th grade, worked at a factory for 25 cents an hour. I had a dream that one day my kids will not grow up the way I did. I had dirt floors, no shoes, and no mattress. 30 years ago, I came to the United States. I left my 4 girls with my mother, but I promised them that I will return for them. I'm in LA, and after years of working and saving, I went back to Belize, and I brought my girls to LA, where we lived with my second husband, Ray. When we separated, I had to raise my 3 boys in South Central by myself, surrounded by drugs and violence. When I buy them new shoes, they had to fight for them shoes. The kids would ask them what gang they belonged to. I said to my boys, tell them that you are in Jesus' gang and your mother is the leader, and they can come and talk to me. When my oldest son joined the gang, I told him, I said, a gang is dictatorship. But he thought they loved him, and ever since he lived on the street. One day he brought Myra home. Myra was pregnant. Rachel was born, and after another daughter was born, Desiree. I looked at Myra and Ray, and I know that they were not ready to be parents. So for 15 years, I've been raising my 2 granddaughters. I passed by a place called home several times. And eventually we went in. And when we went in, I looked around. And as I looked around, I saw love, and I saw concern. And I saw that everyone was treated with respect. A place called home have helped my granddaughters with their homework. And now they can look at me and they can say, Nanny, we are on our way to college. Rachel and Desiree, you do not have to live the life like your mom and your dad. I know that you all are on the right road, and I know that you all will be good people. A place called home gives us hope. A place called home is our dome filled with guardian angels. And a place called home, that dome will help each and every boy and girls in South Central. Thank you and bless you for being here tonight.
Thank you so much. You are why a place called home exists. You are why we are all here tonight. Bless you. Thank you for having the courage to come up here and share your stories. You get to sit and relax now the rest of the night. We love you. Thank you so much.
By the way, I want to tell you, on my show, we always do the what you didn't see backstage segment, you know, to try and get people involved. And I want to tell you what you didn't see backstage here tonight. Real quick, and everybody just quiet down for a second. Hold it down. Shh. 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 I want to tell you what you didn't see backstage. I was sitting backstage after that performance, and I looked up as two of the dancers came back, and they were crying. And I was kind of concerned because I wondered what happened out here that they were crying. The performance was beautiful. All the dancers came back, and the singers, they were crying. There were tears in their eyes. They were hugging each other, and they were telling each other how much they loved each other. And Jules came back, and she said, that was the best performance I've ever seen. We're going to go back to a place called home and film it, but I'm so proud of you. And I just want to tell you that you made this moment happen. And once again, a round of applause for these kids, because back there wasn't a dry eye in the house. It was a pretty amazing moment. Now, in addition to the funds that were raised in the past few minutes, I just want to acknowledge the following donors who have also made exceptionally generous contributions for the night. So let's make some noise for them. Beth and Ken Carmen and Ortho Mattresses. They were Angel of the Children sponsors, and our benefactors of the children sponsors, Lily and John Bossi, Ann Michael and Charles Kaplan, Nancy and Bruce Newberg, NBC Universal, Sachs Family Foundation, Legendary Pictures. Thank you all for stepping up so generously tonight. All right, now it is time to shine a spotlight on two very extraordinary individuals. They and their families are strong.